Good evening and welcome to SUTV Live, where tonight you can watch full camera coverage of this evening's game against Middlesbrough right here at Bramall Lane. To do that, you will need to purchase your match pass before 7:45 p.m. and you can do so by going to sufc.co.uk. We've got lots on the way between now and kick-off. We'll hear from the club captain, Billy Sharp, Friday's penalty-saving hero, Wes Foderingham. Paul Heckingbottom will share his pre-match thoughts ahead of taking on Chris Wilder's Middlesbrough. And in an SUTV Live exclusive, Ben Osborn will tell us about his recent form after returning from injury and exactly what he thinks we need to do to claim all 3 points. Once again, for all the information regarding watching tonight's game, just head to sufc.co.uk. Well, welcome along inside our studio here in the heart of Bramall Lane. It's Chris Wilder's return for the first time since he left a year ago. There's electricity in the air, and on big match occasions you need a calming influence, a midfield maestro, if you will, and we've got just the man for you amongst our guests tonight. He made over 170 appearances in the red and white shirt for the Blades, scoring 36 goals. It's a very warm welcome and debut to Michael Brown. Great to have you with us.
Thank you very much.
Now, I said you're a calming influence, Michael. I've got to ask you about that nose because it stands out right now.
Well, of course it is. He's having a field day straight away, Sabs, isn't he? So it's going to be a long night, but coming away, first time in the studio with you guys, and I've got this. I've had an operation inside my nose to help me breathe. He's giggling, his shoulders are going, but I wasn't expecting these sort of strappings around the outside, but I've got to deal with it. A couple of black eyes, and we get on with it.
You're patched up, ready to go. In your time here at Sheffield United, old First Division playoff final, League Cup semi-final, FA Cup semi-final. There's some highlights and lowlights obviously there, but what sticks out for you?
Listen, it was a great time. I've just literally been walking around the ground, doing a couple of interviews for different things, podcasts, etc. And you start to reminisce, you start to look round, and just the scenes behind us. Obviously managed to score a few goals, some great games. Nottingham Forest here was a wonderful game, and probably a couple of goals, and I'm sure I'll always get reminded of one, and particularly against Sheffield Wednesday. So yeah, great times, great dressing room.
Now, you've already mentioned him, so we'll bring him in. Carl Asaba, a man who doesn't control his emotions, quite frankly. You wear your heart on your sleeve. You've recovered from Friday night's late dramatic disappointment. Dusted yourself down. The pulse has got to be racing for this one, Carl, hasn't it?
Yeah, I'm really excited about his nose. But no, we're not going about Brownie's nose. It's a massive match. The atmosphere is going to be great. The manager obviously returning is huge and has taken a lot of attention, but it's about our boys, how they play, how they handle the atmosphere. I thought the last match they didn't play as they normally do, and it's to see if they can lift their performance tonight.
Well, we'll look back on Friday's performance shortly, but let's just dwell on this game a little bit first, chaps, because it is a big game in terms of the championship table and, of course, in the man who's going to be in the opposition dugout, Chris Wilder.
I think it's just a huge game, isn't it? Yes, obviously it brings more to it that it's Chris Wilder, but looking from a Sheffield United point of view, you've got to sort of say, that's not there, give Chris his welcome, and he deserves it. Wonderful service to the football club. It's not about any performance, it's about results today. And that team are obviously right next year in the playoff position. Great form at home. I think you've got to look, and Middlesbrough have had some good results, but they won't want to come here. They'll be worried and concerned about this result, and more pressure with the manager, realising that he'll desperately want a result for his side. So I think it's a great game, and this is when you find out what your team are all about. Who's in there? A difficult game against Forest, which we'll discuss later. But again, it's just the results. It's all about the result, and performances can go out the window.
Well, let's take a look at the league table, because there's nothing to choose between these two teams, as we see there, Carl. Middlesbrough just one place and a point above the Blades. There's a lot riding on this result.
There's a lot riding on it, and you know, I think the match being called off when we were, you know, over the Christmas period was very beneficial to Middlesbrough, you know, and it's hindered us because it's given us a backlog and we've got injury problems, but you know, the table's so tight. We just got to pick things up now. You know, we are laden with injuries, but the boys who are coming in, they're getting up to speed, and we got some players coming back still.
Both sides are in good form. It's worth having a look at the respective teams. First of all, the Blades of late, of course, they had that one setback at Millwall a week or so ago, Michael, but the one thing that stands out at the moment is how tight they've been defensively and just how quickly Paul Heckingbottom seems to have turned things around.
Sure, you're looking at the appointment, aren't you, and seeing what type of change he could do. He brought energy, he brought determination, sort of a willingness to get up the pitch as well. And out of possession, as you said, look at the goals against. That tells you everything. Difficult times and difficult games, you find out how good you are out of possession, and they've been really, really good and managed to sort of withhold it at times. But you know, it's really been an impressive turnaround from Paul Heckingbottom. I was a bit thinking, is he the right person? He's had a go at it before, but now he's obviously shows it was a good appointment, and the players like him, don't they? He's bringing some youth, he's bringing some energy, and it's good. It's a good time now, I think, really, for Sheffield United to kick on, find the sort of what they're all about, and I fancied them tonight. I think it's a big game, and I feel like they'll come right to the front.
For me, the defensive side, it's been great since the manager's come in, but I said it a couple of weeks ago, the loss of Bash I think is huge, and we've not kept a clean sheet now in 2 since he's not been in, and I'm just hoping that Egan steps up again. You know, I think Robinson's been great, he's come on and he's really given strong performances, but you need Egan to be the central, the linchpin, because for me, I don't think he's played as well without Bash beside him, so that's, you know, I'm not the biggest defensive strategist. You know, Gagey talks much better about the defence, but I just think we're a different team defensively with Bash playing.
But you're going to miss him, aren't you?
I know.
You know what I mean, if Basham's not there, I mean, straight away you're thinking, well, that's a huge loss for the football club, but you've got a good squad. That's why it's there. You've got to react. You've got to find a way, and that's what the heck he's got to do. He's got to find that solution. And I looked at the game the other night, and you're thinking, are they missing 1 or 2 at the back of that type of leader to see games out? And
massively,
that's where you're going to find the next few weeks.
I'm wondering when they're going to re-sign Bash. You know, because Brownie all see when he's playing, we're a different team, and it's just get him re-signed, get everyone they know where they stand, and the other lads can settle down. I just think he's a massive part of this team and squad.
And let's be honest as well, when we look at tonight's opponents, Middlesbrough, they've struggled to keep clean sheets even since Chris Wilder has come to the club. They've got wins, but I think they've had something like 3 defeats in the last 15, and you've only got to go back to that game against Barnsley a couple of weeks ago when, you know, the team bottom of the championship, they shipped 3 in. Chris talks about it being a crazy 15-20 minutes or so, but quite clearly there are going to be opportunities tonight.
Yeah, well, if they're not sound against our attacking play, you know, when we're on song, we are wave after wave, and I've said all season, when our players get 3 against 3 or 4 against 4, we're technically out. And the Middlesbrough away match, I was there and we lost 2-0, but we controlled that match and we outplayed them. So I think our players are going to be very confident that we're going to get chances. It's just now we've got Billy scoring, you've got Gibbs White, who give him half a sniff, he's scoring. So they are going to be nervy, the Middlesbrough players coming here with this crowd, and our attacking players.
Yeah, I think it is one of those, isn't it, where you come and the atmosphere is going to be great, and what type of game and who settles first. But you can talk about the formations, can't you? Chris Wilder's gone in. I think you've inherited a group of players that are used to having determination and doggedness in that Middlesbrough side, because that's a Neil Warnock type side, a set-up. Chris has then gone on and obviously sprinkled a little bit more creativity going forward in the wider areas, and obviously knowing how he plays. But it's fascinating, isn't it? It's a great actually combination to see who's going to win. It's obviously the youngster in Paul Heckingbottom coming across, Chris Wilder in systems and setups, and it's now who you can rely on. And obviously Osborn is someone we'll discuss as well.
The Forest match, I was expecting us to really be buoyed by the fans, because there was a massive atmosphere, and the lads were a little apprehensive, and that really surprised me. And tonight, I hope we use it, because Forest they started much brighter and they reacted.
That happens though, doesn't it? You've got to use the atmosphere today. You know the backing will be fantastic. They'll be right behind them straight away. But I almost feel like we could talk tactics, we can talk everything. You just look at the league table, and I think it tells you the importance of everything.
Well, we've seen the league table. Let's look at the Sheffield United lineup then for this evening's game, because Paul Heckingbottom has said he'll have to make changes to keep the squad fresh. It's just the one change to the starting lineup this evening. Femi Siriki, the youngster, is the man that makes way, the man you touched upon. just a few moments ago, Michael, Ben Osborn comes in probably at right wing back, we think?
Well, we don't know really. We're guessing, is that going to be the natural replacement? You would think that's going to be a case. What's really impressed me when he came to the football club, you're sort of saying, is he going to be in that midfield three? Yeah. Well, we've seen him drop in at the left wing back position. Now we're talking about him in a right wing back position, all around the midfield areas. Because what he does, that's it, Carl, isn't it? Do you know, his desire, his application, his work rate, he's infectious. And I think in a particular game where you might not have the ball straight away, that's what he's going to bring. He's going to bring a real intent to press.
Every match he's played, even if he's not been on song, he's given 100% commitment. The other day, on Friday night against Forest, he came on and he was a revelation down the right. He actually took us forward, got us on the front foot, and we scored not long after he came on.
Where would you play him though, Carl? Do you know when you're actually saying, well, he's going to be there and he doesn't play? And he brings all these attributes, and then he finds his way in the team, then he's out of the team.
He's done well as
so tough, isn't it? He doesn't have a one that you say,
but
I'm going to play him out.
Squad, and hand on heart, I think if everyone's fit, I don't think he makes the first 11. But he's another player who's out of contract who you'd sign because he doesn't let you down. He must train 100%. He keep everybody on their mettle in training. He's a great lad around the club. You hear him speak. He wants to sign here. You just find the player, and if he is a stopgap until Boulders comes back, or until I've forgotten his name now, my favourite player, I forgot his name, comes back, then so be it. But you need players like him, and I hope he has another great game tonight.
We'll hold it there for a second, chaps. We'll talk a little bit more about Ben Osborn and how he fits into this team a little bit later. But just before we came on air, we got a chance to speak to Oliver Norwood as he looks ahead to tonight's game, and of course talking about that Chris Wilder factor. Ollie, thanks for taking the time to join us here on SUTV Live. Understandably, all the talk around this game has been about Chris Wilder coming back, as well as the importance, obviously, to the league table. As a group, though, I imagine you've got to sort of section yourself off from that. How have you and the boys handled the build-up?
Just another game. We were disappointed Friday to draw the game late on as we did, although probably on the balance of the game, probably a fair result. We weren't at our best. You know, Forest were very good. They missed a penalty, missed another couple of chances. We missed a couple of chances as well, so probably a fair result. But yeah, it's a Tuesday night game in the Championship, and we're both close to each other in the table, and it's going to be a good game.
Yeah, the games keep coming thick and fast now as we enter the home straight of the season, but these are the type of games you and the lads want to be involved in, aren't they?
Oh, definitely. That's why you want to be a professional footballer. The games where there's something on it and still a lot to play for. And yeah, we're excited for the game. We know what it's going to be like. It's going to be high tempo game, as we'd expect, as we've seen down the years, and we're really looking forward.
Final thought on Chris Wilder's return. I know Billy Sharp a few days ago said he should be applauded and welcomed back for 30 seconds, but once that first whistle goes, it's game on. Is that your mentality as well?
Yeah, let's not make any mistake about it. He wants to beat us as much as we want to beat Middlesbrough. You know, the job he did for the football club, and you know, everybody knows what he did. It was incredible. The 3 years I was here was part of it. It was unbelievable. As I said, he's working for Middlesbrough now, and we're working for Sheffield United, and I'm sure we'll shake hands at the end, and hopefully we're shaking hands with a victory. So, yep.
Absolutely. Well, best of luck tonight, and go well, Ollie.
Thank you. No problem. Thank you.
Ollie Norwood there talking to us on SUTV Live around about half an hour ago. Carl, quite interesting there. Make no bones about it. Chris Wilder wants to beat us, and we want to beat him.
Oh, yeah. I think this game can be just clouded by the Wilder. It's not. It's gone. The man was a legend. He made us play incredible football, got us to heights we've not really reached before. That's gone. 3 points. You know, it's going to hurt tomorrow if we lose to him or to any other manager. So focus on it. And I'm hoping for a big match from Norwood, because when we played well, he's played well, and he's played at a tempo. And he wasn't at the races on Friday, but hopefully he'll be back tonight.
Michael, Ollie seemed up for it there when we spoke to him. Is that the demeanour that you're looking for from a player ahead of a game like this?
Yeah, for sure. I think he's obviously seasoned professional now. He understands his role. He can't always be there. Sometimes he'll have a bad game, as you said. But what he's got composure, hasn't he? When the ball comes in and around him, he's got a great range of passing that he can bring people in. but it's about Sheffield United getting on the ball a little bit more so he can do that. Give him the options in the right area so he can find those passes, and probably against Forest, it wasn't really
coming
there,
out from the back quick enough. I don't think the defenders were playing the ball with tempo, and it sort of went through the team, and Norwood suffered. But for me, when we played well this season, he's been at the heart of it.
OK, well, since you mentioned Nottingham Forest, let's take a look back now to Friday night and the key moments from that game.
As we've said plenty of times, always a little bit special under the lights. Now Keenan Davis, here's the dangerous Johnson, left-footed, takes a deflection and an out-swinging corner. And headed towards goal by Davis. And there's a counter-attack on here for United, and they've got players moving forward. One of them is Sander Berger. Sariki's on his outside. Berger with a strike, beaten away. Sariki puts it across the 6-yard area. Zinkernagel makes the run. Zinkernagel's in here for Forest. Good save by Wes Foderingham. Looking to take on Norrington Davis. He bursts into the penalty area. He goes down. It looked like a trip. And it is a penalty to Nottingham Forest. Can Foderingham repeat his heroics? He can! And it gets to the second ball too. Johnson just chipped it down the middle. How many times do you see that? And the keeper dives out the way. Forward now towards Gibbs-White. Good first touch. Gibbs-White with the shot. And it goes. Chance again for Forest. Now Gibbs-White. And goes the cross towards the back post. And it's there! Billy Sharp celebrates in front of the Kop. Who else for Sheffield United? It's his 13th of the campaign. And the Blades take the lead. Deep corner. Sharp's there again. And a second time. Horvath keeps Forest in it. Fleck. A shot by Davis is blocked. Egan keeps it alive. Egan again, another block comes in. Gibbs-White, can he look after the ball for United? Goes on a mazy run. Jefferson wants it. Can Jefferson get there? Jefferson, saved by the keeper. Outswinger, and it goes. There's the header, and it's there, the equaliser. Yates who's got it for Forest. The final minute of stoppage time, and the visitors have equalised.
Late heartbreak, 4 minutes in stoppage time on Friday night, deprived the Blades of taking all 3 points, settling for the single point in the end. Billy Sharp, though, once again the goal-scoring hero for the home team. Here are his thoughts following that performance.
Well, Billy, 1-1 in the end. There must be a great sense of frustration after conceding the late equaliser.
Yeah, with it being so late, one header from another great victory, but Forest are a good side. We knew it was going to be tough. I think they had the better of the first half. Obviously, Wes produced another penalty save, which, you know, you fancy him at the minute. He's been brilliant for us since he's come in, and he gives us a lot of confidence, you know, to build from that. And we got the breakthrough, which I was delighted to get on the end of something, because I wasn't really particularly playing that well, but I just knew something was going to come, and Morgs put a great ball in, which I managed to get in the net, and I thought we was going to hold on. So it is frustrating and disappointing, but you know, it will be a good point. It just doesn't feel like it at the minute. So we need to dust ourselves down, recover, and go again Tuesday, because it's going to be another big night on Tuesday.
It is certainly true that goals change games. Having scored, Sheffield United then looked a bit more like themselves, didn't they, following the changes?
Yeah, I feel like we have been playing well at home. You know, last 7-8 games, but last week was an off day, and we've talked about it. We can't have an off day, because when we have an off day, we let other teams in. And tonight we had a bit of a sticky half, but we were sticking at it, and we managed to get the goal in front. And I thought we was, like I said, I thought we was going to hold on, but they had about, I think they must have had double figures of corners tonight, and we dealt with every one apart from that one. So yeah, we're disappointed. We'll look at that, you know, tomorrow and see if we could have done any better, but I think it'll be a good point at the end of the season.
Carl, we often talk about Billy's goals because he's got 14 in all competitions now this season, but I think the longer the season goes on, perhaps the most impressive thing is his link-up play with Morgan Gibbs-White now. Yeah,
the match against Swansea was the link-up between them. They were on a different level, you know, and they were looking for one another all the time. There was even overplay when Gibbs-White is trying to play Billy when it's not on. But you like seeing that because, you know, there's a belief between them. Obviously the other night we were all very, very disappointed because Billy yet again came up with an incredible goal, and it was a great header. Of course the ball was crossed from Gibbs White, who did a great little touch to give himself a yard to put it in, and then Billy headed it the one place where he could score, because that's what Billy does. Those two they've been brilliant, standout players. Billy's, you know, he's got better and better this season. It's hard to put into words how good he's been.
Yeah, do you see it as a good combination? You know, it's a good foil for Billy. Obviously, he's the one who's going to be right at the furthest point of the pitch, scoring goals, etc.
He's been running, the way they're working, it's not Billy facing up. Billy's actually making runs off it, because Billy's so clever. He's actually making runs off the back of defenders into little holes, and Gibbs White's flicking it round. It's not Billy got no legs. Do you think with Gibbs White though, do you think there's more to come still for actually his end product of what he can deliver at the end of it? Some great balls in, some great things, but is he sometimes do a little bit too much? Everything it's 10 out of 10. It's a high tariff trick. The ball comes in a flick every time, and 9
But that's what makes him so entertaining, isn't it?
Yeah, but he's gonna learn when to do it.
But he'll learn off Billy, because Billy straight away will be telling him he's off, not so much.
There's times he's done it on the edge of our box and he's put us under pressure, and he'll only learn from playing. But you don't want him to stop. I enjoy coming to watch him because he's just so exciting. He tries the unpredictable and it comes off, and his enthusiasm. There's some players, even in our team, they lose the ball and their shoulders go. He'll lose it and he's sprinting off to get it to try another trick. You'll love him, Brownie.
Well, it was that creativity, of course, that led to the Blades goal on Friday night. But of course, we saw from Carl Asaba's reaction the absolute demoralisation of that late equaliser. Paul Heckingbottom, though, managing to keep a level head after the game.
He had to settle for a point in the end against Nottingham Forest. Your take on the night's work?
It's probably a good spectacle in terms of it had a bit of everything. They were the better team first half, thought we were the better team second half, and I'd have been delighted if we'd have done enough to win it. And it's a 1-1 draw, but the nature and the timing of the goal means you've got one team coming off like they've won the FA Cup and one team coming off like they've been relegated. But that's how football makes you feel. However, the message to the players is that it's a 1-1 draw. Take the point and we move on.
Because I'm sure you would agree that for the first half, Forest were the better team.
Yeah, we weren't great with the ball. Listen, and I'm not going to speak bad about anything we've done tonight. We've got a lot of square pegs in round holes, and there's a lot of credit to a lot of players out there, and especially second half there. Now we fought on, and the message was you find a way. And as the game went on, I thought we were the stronger team and getting stronger and stronger, and that's why it's disappointing, because I thought the players had shown what they're all about. So for us to concede in that way is it's harsh, but that's what football is.
Certainly the substitutions appear to have a big impact, well, almost an immediate one, I suppose. The changes helped lead to the goal.
Yeah, as I said, we've not got too many options at the minute, but having Ben available meant we could use him for some minutes. Listen, it's a credit to him. He's come on and played right wing back, but it allowed us to make that change and move Morgan to a slightly different position and put another forward on. So, yeah, it was an important change. And one then, I think you mentioned the goal, but I think it allowed us to get a bit more pressure on the ball higher up and be a bit more threat on the counter as well. So, yeah, as I said, disappointed that it didn't get us the 3 points.
Michael, we heard Paul there refer to not having too many options, and you look through the squad that was named, including the bench players on Friday night. 5 came up through the academy. If you want to include Billy Sharp, 6. It's great testament. We can see some of the names there to the way Sheffield United are running things behind the scenes and through the different age levels.
Yeah, I mean, it's fantastic. And obviously what's being a breath of fresh air is that the manager knows them all. And they've been put into a system that's followed what was in place already. So they're used to how they need to play. Obviously, the manager's got to put his own way on the team. But straight away, they've got the belief because he's got the trust in them straight away. But again, the difference is, though, when you're relying on them in these huge games to make the right decisions, that's the hardest thing. They're not coming in where they can just play a game. It's right at the business end of the season where these games, because Sheffield United are on catch-up, is what's difficult. And they're really holding their own. I think they're doing a great job when they're getting those opportunities, and to be on the bench and in and around it.
There's some real stars there. Kyron Gordon, Wow, and we've got players. Zach Brunt, you'll love Zach Brunt. He sees a pass like you, Brownie. He's out on loan. We've got a centre half called Lapata as well. They're going to be big players.
But like Jefferson last year, I was doing him in the Everton game when he comes on, gets that goal. But again, they're getting these opportunities, aren't they? That's what
he missed the pass. But, we could have put us 2-0 up if he squared it across.
There was a couple of those on that, and at that point, Dies well. I think it's one of those, isn't it, where
it's the learning process, isn't it?
It's the learning process, but unfortunately, they've got to perform. If they go in and beyond that pitch, they're under huge pressure. So straight away, it's sink or swim time. But you'll soon find out if any of them can step up. It's not ideal, is it, to actually be coming on in this situation?
Nice,
But do you know what you see? You see a certain Marcus Rashford. Do you know where it was an adversity where you didn't think he was going to get a chance? He's come on a couple of goals where he wasn't even in a pecking order
against Arsenal,
Manchester United. So straight away, you take your chances when you get them.
Yeah.
OK, let's take a look at the two teams once again. First of all, let's bring you up to speed with the visitors this evening. Middlesbrough's starting 11. They've made 3 changes to the side that beat Luton Town 2-1 at the weekend. Spurrier, Peltier and Bowler are the men that come in. Are we surprised that Chris Wilder's made several changes coming into this game?
I think you're always surprised, aren't you, when you look at it, the amount of play. Balogun at the top of the pitch, you'll be an exciting one. Lee Peltier, I know extremely well for playing with him at Leeds United. I know what he can bring. Yes, he's getting on a little bit, but I think they've still got that experience, haven't they? Crooks and Howson, especially Tavernier, that midfield area. You say there's strength there. Crooks getting forward, and really he's the mainstay of creating opportunities and getting goals for his side. So yes, there's a couple of changes. Taylor as well, probably need Taylor down that left-hand side in those wing-back positions is probably a key area. So we talk about wing-backs, 3 centre-backs, the wide ones, who's going to overlap? Can they do that, and where can they go when they make these changes?
I think he's putting in some energy just to combat. He knows that we have spells and we do overrun people, and I think he's putting in, to change that many legs, it's just to get fresh legs to weather the storm.
Well, of course, Paul Heckingbottom doesn't really have that luxury. We just heard him mention that he's short on options. Let's have a look at the starting 11 for the Blades this evening. Just the one change. I don't think it's any surprise that Femi Siriki makes way and drops to the bench, especially after the impact that Ben Osborn had coming off the bench on Friday.
Yeah, Ben Osborn was great. Siriki, he did well going forward. I just didn't think we weren't doing great down the right-hand side. You've got a left-footed centre half playing on the right side, and it wasn't making it easy for Siriki. But the manager stuck with the team because I think he trusts them. He's been.
Who do you think's key there tonight? Do you know, I'm looking at Sanderberg. Yeah, I was exactly thinking exactly the same thing.
Gibbs White, if things come off for Gibbs White, he can score 2 goals without Middlesbrough knowing what's happened. But also Fleck. I think what's been key to Norwood has been having legs beside him. Hurahan did great. He came in and initially he wasn't fit enough. Then he's got up to speed with his fitness. And Norwood's performances excelled because he's not asked to do all the dog-eat stuff.
But what you're saying is in the build-up from the 3 centre-backs, one of them being brave enough to get on the ball, to start it off, to go.
And they look nervy. The ball straight away against Forest. Egan looked nervy, kicked it off.
I think we've got to accept, though, Forest are a really good side at the moment. Yeah. And I think they've caused a lot of people problems, and you've got to be a little bit careful with how much possession they have, not to be too frustrated, because you're expecting Sheffield United to dominate those games, but it doesn't always happen.
And of course, if you're going to have a few jitters early on, it helps if you've got a goalkeeper in great form at the top of his game at the back. And certainly in the Blades number 1, Wes Foderingham, that's exactly who we've got. Another home game, another safe penalty from him. We caught up with him ahead of tonight's match.
Yeah, I'd say so, because you probably expected to score a penalty. So I think you saw in the Blackburn game, from the penalty I saved there, it gave everybody a lift, the crowd a lift, and even in the Forest game, it gave everybody a lift, and I thought we improved after that. So that's probably the biggest thing from it. Obviously, from a personal point of view, it's great, but it gives the team a lift, it gives the crowd a lift, and you could hear the noise around the stadium, and like I say, it just can maybe change the course of the game.
Is it something that you practice a lot in terms of penalties, and how much kind of research do you do on the opposition going into a game from that perspective?
It's not really something you practice, to be honest. The only time I've practiced penalties is probably if you're going into a shootout or something, and it's more for the outfield players than it is the goalies. But there's a lot of work that goes into sort of the homework and researching with the analyst team and Dukey, the goalie coach, and having a look at patterns if we can see, if there's any sort of correlation between players and where they go, or pressure penalties and whether they change side. And it's just one of those things you have the data and you have a look at it, but when it's out there, it's up to you to make a decision and try and do your best to save it.
Just trying to do the best to save it, says Wes Foderingham. But I mean, we look back at some of these saves he's made in the last 2 home games, chaps, and when you need your goalkeeper to come up trumps, he absolutely has.
It's been brilliant.
He has, hasn't he? And that's the point. And it must be hard for him when you sit and thinking, am I going to be the number one? Am I going to get the jersey? How much am I backed? But yeah, you see that one as he's gone down the middle. I'll give him great confidence and great belief.
He's made great saves at important times as well in the game. It's not like we've been 3-0 up and he's been making crucial saves at 0-0 or 1-0 to keep us in. It gives confidence to the defenders. And I think since he's come in when Olsen got ill or something, or went away, he's been brilliant. And we've had troubles this season with Olsen and Verips. We haven't looked the best, and Wes has been incredible.
That penalty save on Friday night, it's right below our studio here. I know Wes said he'd done his homework, but how much bottle in front of the Cop End here at Bramall Lane does it take to just hold your ground?
Well, it's hard. Obviously, the first thing you say is the strikers coming through. How long can you stand up? Can you stay as big as possible? Make him make the decision. But in a penalty, it's tough to do it. You sat waiting and thinking he's obviously done it before and he's got away with it, so he's seen that it's in his locker, Brennan Johnson, to do it. And yeah, once you get it right, it's fantastic. But when you don't dive, I understand what your point is. Actually, well, why haven't you even gone for it? Why have you just stood? You're rooted to your spot and you can be under a little bit of pressure, but you got his reward.
But that comes with confidence as well. And like you touched upon, Carl, Wes Foderingham is somebody that seems to have grown in stature as well as each game's gone by.
But the way he speaks and the way he presents himself, you can see he'll give confidence to that. He's not erratic. He's not shouting and blaming and pointing at this person. He's very calm in his manner and his performances. And the fans love him to pieces. And I think you can see that his teammates love him as well. He's been great. He's a really, really nice lad, and his performances have been great.
Well, we're closing in on kickoff here at Bramall Lane. Big night, big game. Chris Wilder bringing his playoff chasing Middlesbrough side to the Lane. Sheffield United wanting to thank their former manager, but send him away empty-handed if at all possible. We'll turn our attention to that very shortly, but first of all, a reminder of what's coming up in the next few days. The Blades back in action this weekend on Saturday, 3 p.m. kickoff. SUTV Live is on the air from 2. John Rawling will be in the hot seat alongside him, Brian Dean and Kevin Gage. And then from there, next Wednesday night, the 16th of March, a 7:45 kickoff as the Blades travel to Blackpool. Paul Walker will be hosting that one alongside him, Rob Kozluck, and once again, Kevin Gage. Right, on to our SUTV Live exclusive. Ben Osborn, we've talked a little bit about the impact he made coming off the bench against Nottingham Forest on Friday night. Our very own Matt Young caught up with him in the build-up to this game to discuss just how tough a road it's been for him coming back from injury.
Yeah, 100%. It's been a long 6-7 weeks out injured. There's been so many games that I've missed because they've all been thick and fast. But I was just buzzing to be in the squad at the week against Forest, and then to make it on the pitch, it felt great to be back.
Yeah, and coming on a slightly different role, right wing back. Is that something you ever played before?
No, probably one of the only positions that I've never actually played before. Obviously played left wing back quite a bit, so it's a little bit different. But at this stage of the season, with the amount of injuries and everything, just anything, for the team till the end of the season.
No better time to come back as well against your former club. You must have been pleased with your performance as well.
I mean, when I was looking at the fixture, I was hoping to maybe be back for the Millwall game, but that came a little bit too quick. So I was, never going to miss out on the Forest game. And I was pleased with how I did when I came on. It was a really tough game. I thought they played quite well. And then we scored straight after I came on, and we ended up having a little bit more control, but disappointed to concede. Overall, probably a fair result.
You said it was disappointing, but in the end of the season, you might look back on that as a really important point.
Yeah, I suppose always when you concede late on, it doesn't feel great, but I think more disappointed that when we were 1-0 up, we had the chances to probably put it to bed. But like I say, over the whole game, draw is probably a fair result, and if we get a win in the next game, it looks like a very good point.
And we've got another playoff rival coming up on Tuesday night, Middlesbrough. What can we expect from that game?
Yeah, I think it'll be a very tough game. Seen them a few times recently, and Chris has got them playing some good stuff, similar to how he had us playing here at times. So I think we know what to expect. It's going to be a really tough game. They're going to be 100% at it. So yeah, it's going to be a lot of individual battles all over the pitch, I think. But hopefully with a home crowd and our home form, we can come out with the points.
There'll obviously be a lot of talk about Chris coming back for the first time. He brought you to the club, so maybe just a little added spice to proceedings perhaps on Tuesday.
Yeah, I think there will be. I think he'll definitely be coming here to spoil the party and to take the 3 points. He'll have them right up for it. I'm sure he'll be right up for it. But you know, we will too, and it'll be a great spectacle, I'm sure.
Less than 10 minutes to go to kick off here at Bramall Lane, and a reminder to watch uninterrupted coverage of tonight's game. You'll need to purchase your match pass by going to sufc.co.uk. Michael Brown, Ben Osborn there. You said earlier he came in with the idea of being part of a midfield three. He played right wing back on Friday night. His asset, I guess, to some degree is a detriment as well. He can play literally anywhere across the pitch.
It sometimes does go against you because actually you don't nail down that one spot, but what he becomes is obviously a great squad asset. As Carl was mentioned before, you want him in around the building, you need to keep him, you need him to be here. But he's infectious, that's what I've just said. He's somebody you'll go and back up. If I'm playing behind him and he's going and pressing like he does, I'm going to go and follow. He gets the crowd up. And I think that's important. I think that's why obviously Paul Heckingbottom's put him in tonight. Yeah. Try and get that little bit more energy, a bit more quality. But you know, when he first signed, I was wondering where's he going to go? Would he fit, especially in that midfield area when you see Fleck, Norwood,
well, I was going to say, you both were integral parts of that 2002-3 side that went all the way to the First Division playoff final, and you had players that had versatility about them. How important is it to have a player who literally can slot in and plug a gap when needed?
Well, it's clear with our injury crisis, he's key. But I think he's all season.
That's why Carl was so flexible. He could play many positions, couldn't he?
On the bench, I could sit wide left on the bench, wide right on the bench. But no, Osborn, I think, even earlier in the season under Slav, when the team weren't performing, the one person who always gave 100%, I know it sounds weird talking about, but earlier in the season, performances weren't great. Osborn never let you down. You know, he was always positive, going forward and trying. And as you say, it's infectious and it lifts you up. And I'm glad, you know, his performance the other day was really stand out when he came on. And I hope he can take that on again tonight, because it's massive for us to have a fill-in with Baldock and Bogle out. He's my favourite player. Bogle.
It's the nerves and excitement, Carl. And we're just hearing the Rocky music playing across the PA system in the stadium behind us as well. This really does have all the makings and feel of a big match atmosphere. It's a big night at Bramall Lane, so why don't we hear from the big man in charge, Paul Heckingbottom, ahead of this game against Middlesbrough.
It's going to be a tough game. We're playing a team, like you say, good form. Their away form's not been as good as the home form, and we want to capitalise on that. But the rise up the league's been really good. They've been able to keep a really consistent team selection. You know, they've been fortunate with injuries and suspensions, and they've been able to build a really good understanding amongst their 11. And that's something that we have to respect. And that, like I said, whilst I wouldn't swap our players, I think we've got a really strong squad and a really good group of players. I think we have to respect how well coached they are and sort of how just how they're performing at the moment. They're a hungry group, like I say, and they've built some good relationships in amongst that 11.
How should Chris's time at Sheffield United be viewed now that the kind of dust has settled on what was a remarkable rise up the divisions?
I think you just said it there. Remarkable. League One to the Premier League, 2 seasons in the Premier League, all in a very short space of time. So one of the golden parts of Sheffield United's history, without a doubt, and he'll be proud about that. And it'd be nice for him to get to that point in his life, in his career, where he can see it that way. At the minute, he maybe doesn't, you know, maybe still unhappy about things that went off, desperate to turn us over, to get the points, without a doubt, but that's what drives you as a competitor, so we'll have all that, but there'll come a point in Chris's life and career where he can really sit back and understand and probably reflect on what a great job he did here.
Well, Chris Wilder may be coming to Bramall Lane tonight, desperate to get 3 points, but believe me, there's the majority of this 30,000+ crowd desperate to send him home disappointed. A win for the Blades will take us back into the top 6 this evening. I mentioned it before we went to Paul Heckingbottom there, chaps. The tannoy system's getting everyone going. There is an electricity in the air right now, Brown.
I think there always is. I really enjoyed coming out of the tunnel and listening as the atmosphere built. It's a great stadium to play in. And I'm sure that today will be no different when they get going. But just listen to Paul Heckingbottom, all about Chris Wilder. He'll be going around his business just thinking, OK, all about Chris Wilder. But let me tell you, he will be desperate to win this one of all games, to actually prove he's the new man, he's the manager who can take this club forward. And this is what makes the game great, isn't it?
And a reminder, of course, that you can see unrivaled coverage of the game here on SUTV Live. 7:45 kickoff. If you can buy your match pass for this evening's game by going to the website www.sufc.co.uk. Carl, you are perhaps the most giddy Blades fan I know, not just in the stadium, but anywhere in South Yorkshire. How's the heart doing right now?
Well, I just hope we can get the game into a calm football match as soon as possible. I thought the other night it turned into an occasion and it was 100 miles an hour and it didn't really suit us. I feel we got far better play. You know what I think of our players. I think they're a level above most in the Championship. So the sooner we can just calm the atmosphere down a bit and play our football and do what we do best, which is passing and moving, the better chance we have of beating these, because I feel man for man we're a better team. It's just if we can handle the occasion and get it to how we like playing football.
Prediction time. Are we confident?
2-1 to us, yep.
2-1 says Carl Asaba Michael Brown.
2-1 is so hard to argue. How can I argue with 2-1? 3-1.
3-1. Well, we'll take any win, quite frankly. The players are making their way out onto the pitch. It's the one that we've had circled in the diary ever since we heard that Chris Wilder was going to be at Middlesbrough. The Blades looking to go back into the top 6. Without further ado, I'll hand you over to our match commentary team. In a moment, you'll hear from Kevin Gage. But first of all, it's Matt Young.
Chris Wilder enters Bramall Lane as an opposition manager for the first time since his departure, and the stakes are high as Paul Heckingbottom, Sheffield United, look to leapfrog his Middlesbrough side and re-enter the playoff places. Wilder's 227-game reign ended almost a year ago, but Heckingbottom's arrival has breathed new